and canned soup and some Campbell's soup. Oh, yes, and tell him to hurry. The A&P is just at the corner, and frankfurters don't take any time to boil.
Oh, no, and this is Mr. Sycamore, Alice's father, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
How do you do?
I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
This is Mr. Sycamore's busiest time of year. Just before the 4th of July,
Oh,
darling, I'm the most dull-witted person in the world. I thought it was tonight.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's just that I can't believe that I forgot that... have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice? How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Don't let this upset you, my dear. We've all just met each other a night sooner, that's all.
Of course. But I planned such a lovely dinner for tomorrow night.
Well, we'll come again tomorrow night.
There you have it, Alice. Am I forgiven?
I suppose so. It's just that Oh, well, we better see about getting you some dinner.
Oh, that's all done, Alice. That's all been attended to.
Oh, but Mother, what did you send out for? Because Mr. Kirby suffers from indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Of course it is, Alice.
I asked him what he wanted, Alice.
Oh, but Mother...
Now, it's not as serious as all that, just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps it is not indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps you have, stomach ulcers.
Oh, Mr. Kolenkhof, don't be absurd.
Now, Mr. Kirby, please don't listen to Mr. Kolenkhof. He's Russian, and Russians tend to look on the darker side of things.
All right, I'm a Russian. But a friend of mine, a Russian, died from stomach ulcers.
Really?
Mr. Kolenkhof, Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's all.
All right, let him wait.
Please sit down, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby. Now, Mr. Kirby, how do you find our business conditions? Do you think we're well out of the depression?
What? Yes, I think so. Of course, it all depends.
But do you figure that things are going to keep on increasing, yes?
Broadly speaking, as a matter of fact, industry is now operating at 62% of full capacity, as against 84% in 1925. Of course, in 1929.
There once was a lady feeling a remarkable feeling.
That may seem a little odd to you people, but she's not quite accountable for all of her actions. A friend of Mrs. Sycamore's, she came over for dinner and was overcome by the heat.
Oh, yes, of course. Some people feel it, more than others. Perhaps I'd better see if she's all right. Excuse me.
It's awfully hot. Oh, but you usually escape all this warm weather, don't you, Mrs. Kirby? Up in Maine.
As a rule, I had to come down this week, however, for the flower show.
That blue ribbon is the high spot of Mother's year. She wouldn't miss that for the world.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once, Alice, remember? For raising onions.
That was a garden show, Essie.
Yes. I think she'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Well, I'm sure it won't be any time at all now. I'm afraid you must be starved.
Oh, no, all right. Hello? What's this? Didn't know there were little children in the house.
Oh no, that's mine.
Really? Well, I suppose every man has his hobby, or do you use this as a model of some kind?
Oh no, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Father, instead of raising orchids.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us all about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. You know, some take 6 years to bloom. Think of that!
Oh, some of them take longer than that. I've got one coming along now that I've waited 10 years for.
Well, believe it or not, I was waiting for an orchid.
Yes. Of course, during that time, they require the most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb I was very fond of.
Oh, Donald! Oh, here we are. Did you get everything, Donald?
Yeah, only they didn't have any frankfurters. So I got pickled pig's feet.
Oh, never mind, Donald. Just bring everything into the kitchen. Oh, Do tell them all about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. I'm sure they'd love to hear it. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Seems like an expensive hobby, Mr. Kirby, raising orchids. Do you like it?
Yes, it is, but I feel that if a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
That's very true.
You see, I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week in Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. A lot of men I know have yachts just for that very reason.
Why don't they just give up Wall Street?
How's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Of course, it's more than a hobby to me, but my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? Now, Mrs. Kirby, everybody knows that's a fake.
Excuse me, Mrs. Sycamore, but spiritualism is... Well, I'd rather not discuss it, Mrs. Sycamore.
Remember, Penny, you've got one or two hobbies of your own.
Yes, but not silly ones.
I don't think... Now, I don't think it matters what the hobby is. The important thing is to have one.
Yes.
To be ideal, a hobby should improve the body as well as the mind. The Romans were great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you have to think quick with the mind and quick with the body.
Yes, but I'm afraid wrestling is not very practical for most of us. I wouldn't make a very good showing as a wrestler.
You could make a great wrestler. You are built for it. Look. Adain, three.
Are you hurt, Father? Go ahead.
Where are my glasses?
They're right here, Mr. Kirby. I'm broken.
Oh, I am so sorry, Mr. Kirby, but when you wrestle again, you will of course not have glasses.
I do not intend to wrestle. I do not intend to wrestle again, Mr. Kolenkhof.
Better sit down, Father.
Mr. Kolenkhof, what were you thinking? Why didn't anybody stop him?
If you don't mind, perhaps we'd better be going.
Mother.
Oh no, Mrs. Kirby, please. Mr. Kirby, we ordered you scrambled eggs and plain salad. Oh, please don't go.
I am sorry if I did anything wrong, and I apologize.
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Kirby. If I'd been here.
That's quite all right.
Of course it is, Alice. We're staying for dinner. Tonight.
Well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
Yes, you were telling us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. Do you raise many varieties?
I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so wrong? I threw him on the floor. Didn't kill him.
Please, Mr. Kirby.
I'm sure dinner won't be any time at all now.
Would you like some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? I've got some freshly made.
My doctor does not permit me to eat candy, thank you.
But these are nothing, Mr. Kirby. Just fudge and marshmallow and coconut.
Don't, Essie.
Well,
Miss Alice?
Oh, excuse me.
What is it, Rheba?
the eggs fell down the sink.
Make some more.
I haven't got any more.
Send Donald up for some.
Right.
Make it quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, but there'll be a slight delay with dinner. Everything will be ready very soon, though. Whoosh!
I'm sure put you people to a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
Oh, not at all, Tony. Not at all.
Look, why don't we play a game of some sort while we're waiting?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Mother, I don't think Mr. and
Oh,
Mrs.
I have an idea. I know a great trick of a glass of
Oh,
vodka.
no. Oh, but I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It is perfectly harmless.
Mother.
Oh, you'll love it.
I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, but any fool could play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you do is write your name on a piece of paper.
Mother, Mr. Kirby doesn't.
No, you'll love it. Here, you write your name on that piece of paper, and Mrs. Kirby here, yes. Do the same on that one.
Mother, what is this game?
Oh, I used to play it at school. It's called Forget Me Not.
You like it too, yes?
Here you are, Grandma. Thank you. There. Now, I'm going to call out 5 words, just anything at all. And as I say each word, you're going to write down the first thing that comes into your mind. Is that clear? For instance, if I say grass, you might put down green. Just anything at all, you see? Or if I say chair, you might put down table. Oh, whatever you think of, see? It shows the reactions people have to different things. You see how simple it is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father. Be a sport.
Very well, I shall be happy to play.
Oh, you see, Alice, he does want to play. All right, everybody ready?
Ready.
Now remember, you must play fair. Write down the first thing that comes into your mind.
I understand.
All right, everyone ready? The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Got that? Bathroom. Mother, bathroom. Got that?
Go ahead.
All ready? Lost. Mother, I don't think... Oh, nonsense. That word's all right.
May I have that last word again, please?
Lost, Mr. Kirby.
Seems a perfectly fair word, don't you think, Anthony?
This is quite a game, don't you think?
Oh, Grandpa. All ready? Honeymoon. Oh, no, Essie. All right. The last word is sex. Mother. Everybody got sex? All right, now give me all your papers. Yes, thank you. May I have your paper, Mr. Kirby? Oh, thank you.
Now, what happens now?
Oh, this is the best part. Now I read out all your reactions.
I see. It's really quite an interesting game.
Oh, I knew you'd like it. I'll read your paper first, Mr. Kirby. Everybody ready? This is Mr. Kirby. Potatoes. Steak. That's very good. You see how they go together? Steak and potatoes.
I just happened to think of it.
It's very good. Bathroom. Toothpaste. Oh, well. Lost. Oh, unlawful. Isn't that nice? Oh. Honeymoon. Trip. Oh, yes. Yes. No. And sex. Oh, male. Oh, yes. Of course. You are. That's really a wonderful paper, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you. It's more than just a game, you know. It's sort of an experiment in psychology, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Really shows just how the mind works. Oh, and now we're going to see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Everybody ready? This is Mrs. Kirby. Potatoes. Starch. Oh, I know just what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Oh dear. A bathroom. Mr. Kirby.
What's that?
Bathroom. Mr. Kirby.
I don't quite follow that, my dear.
I don't know. I just thought of you in connection with it, Anthony. You are in there a great deal, bathing and shaving. Well, you do take a long time.
Indeed, I hadn't realized that I was being selfish in the matter. Go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
I think this is a very silly game and we ought to stop it.
Yes, please.
No, I find this game rather interesting. Will you go on, Mrs. Sycamore?
Yes. Let me see. Lost. Human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
I just meant that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
I don't agree with you, Miriam. Lust is not a human emotion. It is depraved.
Very well, Anthony. I'm ready.
Really, it's such a pointless game. Suppose we played 20 questions.
Yes.
No. I find this game rather No. Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore. What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
Oh, yes, and what was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Honeymoon. Dull.
Did you say dull?
I just meant that Hot Springs was not very gay that season, Anthony. Those old people sitting on the porch all afternoon and nothing to do at night. Oh.
That was not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
Father, this is just a game.
A very illuminating game. Go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
This one's not so bad, Mr. Kirby. Sex. Wall Street.
Wall Street? What do you mean by that, Miriam?
Nothing, just the first thing that came to mind.
But you must have meant something, Miriam, or else you wouldn't have put it down.
I don't know what it meant. Nothing.
But what does it mean? Sex, Wall Street.
Well, I don't know what it means, Anthony. It's just that you're always talking about Wall Street. Even when we're... Oh. I don't know what it meant. Alice, would you mind terribly if we didn't stay for dinner? I'm afraid this game has given me a headache.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
Thank you.
Yes, possibly we'd better postpone the dinner if you don't mind.
Oh, but you're coming back tomorrow night, aren't you?
We have an engagement tomorrow night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Possibly we'd better postpone the whole affair a little while. The hot weather.
I think we're being very ungracious, Father. Of course we'll stay for dinner.
Tony, I have a very bad headache and we ought to go.
Come, Tony. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't.
I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
Tony, I knew this wouldn't work. It's no use. Mr. Kirby, I won't be at the office tomorrow. I won't be at the office at all anymore.
My dear, what do you mean?
I'm sorry, my dear. Very sorry. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes.
Darling, you mustn't mind this.
Oh, it's been very nice to have met you all.
Lovely, yes.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father. I'm not.
Good night.
Stay right where you are.
Don't move.
What's the meaning of this? Now, what is all this?
I demand an explanation.
Shut up, you. Which one is it?
This no.
What are you doing? Why, what do you mean? This seems rather high-handed to me. What is this all about?
Department of Justice.
Oh, goodness! Oh, Germain! What have you done?
I haven't done anything.
Grandpa, what is this?
That door lead to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Matt, Jim, sir, take a look upstairs and see what you find.
Yes, sir.
Now, officer, what is this all about?
Come here, you. Ever see these before?
They're my circulars.
You print this stuff, huh?
Yes?
You put them into boxes of candy and get them into people's homes?
The love dreams.
I didn't mean anything by them.
You didn't, huh? Dynamite the Capitol? Dynamite the White House? Dynamite the Supreme Court? God is the state is God?
Yes, but I didn't mean anything by them. I just like to print. Don't I, Grandpa?
Now, the government is in no danger from Ed. Printing is just his hobby. He prints anything.
He does, eh?
I've never heard of such nonsense.
I refuse to stay here and...
Hey! Just let me get my pipe, will you? Just let me get my pipe!
Shut up, you! You're right, Chief. They got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city.
Oh, but we can just
Keep
use...
still! Everybody in this house is under arrest.
Now, this is all nonsense.
You better let me get my pipe! Shut up! All of you!
It seems to me,
Shut up!
Stop there.
Who's that?
That is my mother.
It's all right, Rheba. It's all right. Line up, you people. Line up, all of you.
Go.
For appearance in the West Side Court this morning, after spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing fireworks without a permit.
Yes, sir. Kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the same cell with Mr. Kirby. He was real mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the stripteaser were fighting all night.
Whole lot about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby & Co. 62 Wall Street. Among those apprehended, declared he was in no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby's a member of the Union Club, the Racket Club, the Harbor Club, and the National Geographic Society. He certainly is a joiner.
Yes, sir. All them rich men at Elks or something.
I guess after all this, Mr. Tony isn't ever going to marry Miss Alice.
No, sir, and it's too bad, too. Alice sure loves that boy.
Ever notice how rich folks always get themselves in trouble?
I'm so glad I'm poor.
Me too.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that food out in the kitchen. There ain't gonna be no party tonight, that's for sure.
Ain't you gonna need it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it, but I don't think anybody's gonna have an appetite.
I'm hungry.
Well, they ain't. They're all so broke up about Miss Alice.
What you want to go away for? Where's she going?
I don't know, a mountain someplace. She's going all right. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
Too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
Not even a balloon left. Look.
How's your hand, Mr. Depinna? Better?
Oh, it's better. Is there any olive oil in there?
It's in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could change her.
She isn't gonna be away long, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Rheba. What does she want to say?
It's gonna be lonesome around here without her, isn't it?
How are you feeling, Mrs. Sycamore?
I'm all right, Donald. Just a little upset. Perhaps if I do some work, I'll feel better.
Well, I won't bother you then.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel like it's our fault.
It's mine. More than yours, Penny. All these years I've just been going along, enjoying myself, and maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Oh, don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and a husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone ahead and been an architect, I don't know, something else could have been proud of. I thought that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm kind of all mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves at 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. I'm sure he could persuade her.
But she won't. He's been trying all day.
Well, where is he now?
I don't know. I suppose walking around the block again?
Maybe Tony can catch her as she's leaving.
It won't help, Penny.
No, I don't suppose so. I'm so sorry for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
But, Grandpa,
Now, suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be back. You know, you can only take just so much Adirondacks, and then you come home.
But it's all so terrible, Grandpa.
In a way, but it has its bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into that police wagon for one, and the look on his face when he and Donald had to shower together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to, if I can have things like that going on.
It was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron stripped her, there was a burlesque dancer there, and she kept singing a strip song while Mrs. Kirby undressed.
I bet you Bar Harbor's going to seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Do you need any help with anything, Alice?
No, Grandpa, I'm just going to press these.
Alice, dear,
No. Penny?
Oh, I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you.
Would you like to take some candy along for the train ride, Alice?
No, thanks, Essie.
Alice, you could be just as alone here as you could in the mountains. You could stay right up in your room all the time.
No, Mother, I want to be alone. I want to be by myself. Look, I love you. You know that, but I just have to go away for a little while. I'll be all right. Father, did you call for a cab?
No. I didn't know you wanted one.
Oh, I told Mr. Depinna to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
He told me, but I forgot.
I wish I lived in a family that didn't always forget everything. That behaved the way other families do. Oh, I'm sick of cornflakes and Donald and everything. Why can't we be normal? Why can't we have pot roast and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table? And have a place I can bring my friends to without... Oh,
Won't you listen to me, please?
No, Tony, it's no use.
Alice, you're not being fair. At least let me talk to you. Please.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked right out the minute he came in.
Yeah, and he knocked the olive oil right out of my hands. Oh, I'm going to be smelling a bit fishy.
Hands still hurting you, Mr. Depinna? How you feeling?
Oh, it's better.
Everything burnt up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. Even my Roman costume. Hey, but you know, my pipe made it out.
Well, I said there was a bright side to everything. All except my 24 years back income tax. You know I get another letter every day?
Say, what are you gonna do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I had kind of an idea. And I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm going to try it anyhow.
Well, what is it?
Well, you see
everybody.
Oh, well, hello, Mr. Kolenkhof.
Forgive me, the door was open.
Come on in.
You will excuse my coming today. I realize you are upset.
That's quite all right, Mr. Kolenkhof.
I don't think I can take a lesson today, Mr. Kolenkhof.
Well,
But do stay to dinner. We've got all that food out there, and somebody's got to eat it.
I will be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Thank you. Now, I wonder if I know you well enough to ask of you a great favor.
Why, of course, Mr. Kolenkhof.
You have heard me talk of my friend, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
Yes.
She is a great woman, the Grand Duchess. She is a cousin of the Tsar of Russia, and today she is a waitress in Child's restaurant in Times Square.
Yes, I know. If there's anything at all we can do, Mr. Kolenkhof.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess has not had a good meal since before the Revolution.
She must be hungry.
And today is not only her day off, Thursday, but it's also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Mr. Kolenkhof, if you mean you'd like us to have the Grand Duchess for dinner, why would you be honored?
Yes.
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
Oh, I can hardly wait to meet her. Where is she now?
She is outside in the street waiting. I bring her in.
And straighten your tie and your dress. How do I look? All right?
If things like this keep on happening, I want to live to be 150.
The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. Your Highness, permit me to present to you Madam Sycamore, Mr. and Mrs. Carmichael, and Grandpa.
Madam.
Mr. Sycamore and Mr. Depinna.
All right now, Mr. Depinna.
Will you be seated, Your Highness?
Thank you. You're most kind.
Oh, we are honored to receive you, Your Highness.
I'm most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, very soon. Your Highness, very soon. Oh.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I'm substituting for another waitress.
I will make sure you are on time, Your Highness.
Thank you, Kolenkhof.
Now, Duchess, I think you waited on me once at Child's. Was it the, 72nd Street place?
No, that was my sister.
Ah, the Grand Duchess Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Oh.
Now, quite a lot of your folks living over here now, aren't there?